Hey Lancers, I'm also Senna Orozco, and we are on campus today, and we want to ask people what they think about current events and how they get their news. There is so much happening right now around the world. Some people know what's going on, and some people don't know what's going on. So we want to know kind of what's going through people's heads, where they get their news from, and is it important to know what's going on around the world? So tell me, what do you think of when current events are brought up? What is your definition of a current event?
For me, a current event is going to be something that's happening like within probably the bigger world, like right now, like something that, like right now, like I know, like in Japan and Hong Kong, there's all this stuff going on right there, so that'd easily be like a current event. But then it could also be something as simple as like a coffee shop opening up in Riverside by the school somewhere, something that's going to have an impact on the society around us too.
I think that political conversations are right around the corner, so sometimes I try to stay out of them, but I try to listen as best I can because I'm not very informed on current events.
I think that I'm not educated enough on current events.
Where do you get your news from when you do read the news?
My mom. My mom is usually up to date on current events, and so she'll kind of tell me what's happening in the world.
I do not watch the news because I don't have cable on my TV, so I feel like I get my news from like social media or from my parents, from other people, but I do not watch the news. So
most of my news comes from online, like Google News, stuff like that, or occasionally like in the morning if I'm watching like TV or something like that.
Do you think that we should care about what's going on around the world and around our communities?
absolutely, I wish I cared. It's not that I don't care, I just think that I had more resources, I would say. But yes, I think it's important to care about what's going on around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to like have a like general consensus of what's going on around us. Things aren't going to change unless we make the change happen. So like as much negative stuff that goes on in the world around us, we can't fix any of that if we don't know what's going on around us. And the biggest thing is to make everyone aware of the things that are going on.
Oh, definitely, because it doesn't just affect other people. Eventually it's going to come back to us, or we need to do, if it's another country, then we should find ways to step in and help.
What do you think people can do to make news more accessible?
I feel like right now we're at an age where things are very accessible. Everything's online, everything's digital. I think it's not necessarily about making sure things are accessible, but making sure things are accurate and people are looking at the most truthful news that there are, because there's a lot of fake news out there that's getting put around just to reach like political agendas and stuff like that. And we really need to be able to take what we read and just kind of interpret it for ourselves and make sure that it's accurate.
I think to make sure that there's reliable and not fake news sources on social media, because I think there's been Facebook news that's been corrupt and unreliable, stuff like that. So I think if you were to offer it on other platforms like Instagram, or I think Twitter is pretty accessible, but if it were on Instagram, I know a lot of people are on Instagram, I think that would be more accessible.
I would say, like, you know how social media kind of like jumbles up all the news together and kind of gives you just only like a little bit? I don't know, I would say just don't cut stories short and like keep it real. Like present news on social media the way that it'd be presented on TV, like if you watch the news, or like in the paper if you read the paper, or like don't just give us little increments. Like we can read